1, 2, 3, intro. 1, 2, 3, verse. 1, 2, 3, chorus. 1, 2, 3, verse. 1, 2, 3, chorus. 1, 2, 3, chorus. 1, 2, 3, bridge. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, intro. 1, 2, 3, verse.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to this webinar. We'll be starting here in a few minutes. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Let us know where you're from, where you're watching from, and we'll be starting here soon.
One, two, three, chorus. 1, bridge. One, two, three, four. Intro. 2, 3, 4.
What's up, everybody? Glad you're here today.
Verse 2, 3, 4.
Pick me up and I'm satisfied. From the outside.
Record. 2, 3, 4. Chorus. 2, 3, 4.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the webinar today. It's Tuesday, September 30th, 2014. My name is Matt McCoy, and I'm founder of loopcommunity.com and also a worship leader in Chicago, Illinois. And actually right now I am streaming to you live from my church, my home church, and that's Harvest Bible Chapel up in Chicago. I'm out in the suburbs right now. I usually live downtown. I live downtown, but came out here today for some meetings to the church office. And if you can, in the chat box, type your name and what church you're from, maybe what city you're from, so I can kind of get an idea of who's all here, who's listening. It's great to know kind of who's tuning in. That way I don't feel like I'm just talking to myself in this big empty auditorium right now. So Aaron from Jacksonville, Florida, welcome. I just want to say welcome to this webinar. This is for the Ascension Worship Network and worship leaders that are part of the Ascension Worship Network or band members, and we love Ascension Worship here at Loop Community. The whole team here, we love the guys at Ascension and what they're doing for the church. And I've actually flown down to Jacksonville and got to hang and visit with the Ascension guys, and they're all just fantastic. And so it's a privilege for us to partner with them. And today, we thought we would do a webinar to kind of just help, whether you are a worship leader in a church of 25,000 people or a worship leader at a brand new church plant. We wanted to do this webinar to kind of just help you do what you do better. And the topic is using loops and multitracks in worship. And how do we actually do that? A lot of times people don't do it because they just are intimidated by having to learn new software, having to use technology in worship. It can kind of feel and seem overwhelming. And so at Loop Community, we want to just make using loops and multitracks in worship easy. And hopefully by the end of this webinar, you're going to be like, okay, I can do this at my church. So maybe you're on staff at a church, or maybe you're just being contracted out to go play at different churches. You'll be amazed at how much these tracks can help you do what you do, and make your band just sound so much better. Now let's just talk really shortly about why do people even use tracks. And the main reason, so if you go to a concert, if you go to a Hillsong conference, or you go to a Chris Tomlin concert or Passion, you'll probably see a laptop up on stage. And more than likely what they're doing is they're running tracks. Everybody in the band hears a click track. And then they also hear band cues things that go like verse, 2, 3, 4, and the band follows along with that. And so one, it keeps your band together and in time, and playing to a metronome is so important. Just playing to a metronome alone is going to make your band sound better, because now everybody's not on conflicting tempos. They're all playing together in time as one, which is kind of the whole point of playing together as a band. But then also with those ClickTracks, you also have backing tracks. And so like a song like Alive, let me go ahead and play that real quick. This song is so synth and beat driven that it's hard to pull off at your church.
Intro, 2, 3, 4.
Maybe you don't have someone that can do that synth part. Maybe you have someone that can't play this part. So what's cool is you can use a track that your band plays along with, and you kind of have to see this as another instrument in your band. This is another player in your band. Or maybe like at your church, you're missing your bass player or your drummer. Well, then you could play along with a bass track. So here's a song. Here is Lay Me Down.
Intro,
and let's
2,
just say you
3,
need an acoustic guitar player. Well, then you could just have the acoustic track playing like this. And your band is playing along with that, as well as a click track. Or let's just say you also need drums. Then you could bring in a drummer or electric guitar. Or if you need some beats to play on there. So what's cool is you can use these tracks to help enhance what you're doing already, to make your band sound massive, but also to fill in any empty positions that you might have. Your bass player calls in sick the night before. Your acoustic guitar player doesn't show up, or something. Or you don't have someone that can play the synth lead line for Wake.
Intro, 2, 3, 4.
So then you can use a track to do that for you. And this is a trick that all the pros are using now. You know, if you go to a concert, whether it be U2, Coldplay, even in the secular music world, they're all using tracks to help what they do sound better and more full. And it's something that we're able to use in churches to really just enhance our worship time. So what we're going to talk about today is Ableton Live. Basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to build a set list completely in Ableton Live. And then I'll show you at the very end of another way we could run tracks. But we're going to start with Ableton Live because Ableton is basically the Microsoft Word of this world. So kind of how Microsoft Word is the staple software for word processing, Ableton is the staple software for running tracks in live performance. Let me see who all is tuned in here. Eddie Foy, welcome from Jacksonville. Tim Brummel, welcome from the Journey Church. Chad Guerra, welcome from Jacksonville. Dennis, welcome. And Jay Robinette from Durham, welcome. Glad you guys are all here. Thanks for joining. I hope that this is helpful for you. So we're going to start from scratch, and we're going to look at Ableton Live. I'm going to go to File, New, so we can start from scratch. And we're going to build a set list together. And now Ableton comes in 3 different versions: Intro, Standard, and Suite. Everything I'm going to be doing today, you can do with the Intro version. The main difference between those later versions, Standard and Suite, is that you get more sounds and instruments. And if you want to end up using the software to make your own tracks or record your own album, then you probably want to get Standard or Suite because you get more sounds, but it's more expensive. So if you're just going to use this to run tracks, all you need is Intro, and it starts at $99. So, and the good news is that everybody who attends this webinar today is going to be able to get Ableton Live for $49. So that's $50 off. So pretty big deal there. So that's the good news, and you can do everything I'm going to show you today in that version of Live. This software runs the same on Mac and PC, so whatever side you're on, whether you're on the light side or the dark side there, you can run this software. So okay, when you first open up the software, this is what you see. Ableton comes in 2 different views. What we're looking at right now is called Session View. If you hit the Tab key on your computer, you will see Arrangement View. And let's look at Session View first. Session View is made up of audio tracks, which are these vertical tracks here. It looks like a mixer, right? You've got volume, mute, solo, panning, and all that stuff. So it's made up of these vertical tracks. So these are instruments like drums, bass, electric, guitar, acoustic. But it's also made up of horizontal lines that go across, and these are called scenes. Think of a scene as a song. So right now I've got 8 songs in my set list. I've got 8 songs, and I have 5 instruments. Let's look at the other view. I'm going to hit Tab. This view looks like your standard recording software, where now you've got the tracks, but they're flipped horizontally, and they go down a timeline from left to right. This view is great for if you're going to make your own music or edit your own tracks. If you want to actually play back tracks, then we're going to use this view. You can really do both in either view, but that's what the best way is to use the software, I think. But it really just comes down to preference. This view, this is what's cool about this software, is you can use it to make tracks, but you can also use it to run your tracks. So all right, this view is for recording and making your own, and this view is for running tracks. So let's go ahead and make a set list. I'm going to delete a few of these. We're going to just start with 2 instruments. And then let's look at my set list. I've got 8 songs in the set. So I'm going to hit the delete key. We're going to do 4 songs in our set list. So I've got 4 songs, 2 tracks. Let me check the chat window. All right, just so you guys know, if you guys ever have any questions at all, you can type them in the chat window, and I'll periodically come back here and try to answer them for you. Let's go back to live. Okay, so we've got 4 songs in our set, 2 instruments. So let's start picking our songs. So over on the left-hand side of the screen, this is called Live's file browser. If you're going to use Live to record and make your own music, you're going to use this section up here called Categories. And this is where you can find different sounds. Like let's just say you're looking for a pad sound. You can sample out different pad sounds, or you're looking for guitar sounds, or audio effects, reverb, delay, compressor. You can throw these on any track that you want. So we're not going to talk much about this today, because this is for if you're going to be recording with Ableton Live. We're just going to be running tracks. So we're going to look at this section down here. It's called Places. And this is just a way to access files on your computer without having to open up Finder and drag them in. So I can click Desktop, and it's going to show me all the files that are currently on my desktop. I have a folder on my computer called Worship Songs, and this is where I keep all of my worship songs organized in folders. So here it is. Here's my worship songs. And these are all tracks that I've downloaded from loopcommunity.com. Loop Community is a website that I run, and it's where you can go to download and upload tracks for worship. So whether you know how to make if you know how to make your own tracks, then you can upload them to the website and sell them and share them with other churches. If you don't know how to make your own tracks, you can come here and download them. So all the green tracks are community tracks, and those are made by other worship leaders from all over the world. Blue tracks are master tracks, and these were actually from the record labels. So these are the actual tracks from a record or an album. And then these are community tracks, which are basically interpretations of those tracks. You kind of get a different feel. It depends what you want. But anyways, Loop Community is where you can go to actually download the tracks and purchase them. So all of the tracks that we're using today, I've purchased from Loop Community. Well, I didn't purchase them because they're all on my computer anyway. So here's all the tracks I've got. So let's go ahead and pick a song, and we're going to do, for our first song, let's do a, since I play with Vertical Church Band, let's go ahead and play a Vertical Church Band song. So we're going to do Open Up the Heavens. All right. When you open up the heavens, you can see that there's a bunch of wave files, and they're named by the song title, the tempo of the song, 99, the key of the song, the key of D, and then what that file is. So here's a pad, organ, loop, hand percussion, electric guitar, drums. So I'm going to rename this first track, and we're going to call this band cues. And this is where we're going to drop all of our band cues. So here's the cue file. I'm going to click and drag and just drop. If I hit play,
Intro 2, 3, 4.
You can hear just the cues. Now let's go ahead and rename our first song to Open Up the Heavens. All right. And let's go and bring in the instruments. So let's just say you don't have a drummer. So we're gonna bring in the drums. We're gonna bring in the electric guitar because I don't have an electric guitar player. Notice that if I just drag and drop it over here, it's gonna create a new track for me. Just drag and drop. You can also drag in more than one at a time by holding Command and selecting them like this, and then click and drag and drop. And notice that they're trying to drop in vertically. To drop them in horizontally, we're just going to hold the Command key, and it'll drop them in horizontally. So I've got a row of all these tracks. If I wanted to be really organized, I could rename all of these to like drums or bass. But I don't think it really matters, so I'm not going to do it. Notice that there's little play buttons on all these clips. You don't want to use these play buttons because if you do, here's what happens. I'm going to hit play, play,
Intro.
play,
2, 3, 4.
play, play. So it's kind of a mess. They're all playing, but they're all out of time with each other because I was hitting play at different times. So instead of using these play buttons, you want to use this play button over here, and it's on the song title. So if you hit this play button next to Open Up the Heavens, it's going to play all of these audio tracks in the row at the same time.
Intro. 2, 3, 4.
Cool, right? All right, so let's go ahead and add our next song. So I'm going to go down here, and let's do This Is Amazing Grace by Phil Wickham. So I'm going to open up this folder, and let's drag our cues in here, and let's just go ahead and bring in everything else. I'm going to hold Command to select what I want, click and drag, and then hold Command to drop them in horizontally. And let's rename this to This Is Amazing Grace. And let's do one more song. Our next song is going to be Our God is Greater. So let's do the cue file here, and this one is just a loop track, which means there's not individual instruments per track. We call this a split track. And it just means that there's all the instruments are submixed down just to one file. These are less expensive. These are only $10. If you want the multi-track, which are different instruments per track, those are $20. Okay, so there's Our God is Greater. So this is kind of good because you can get to kind of see how you can use multi-tracks and split tracks in the same set. And then let's just say our fourth song is a song that we don't have a loop for, but we're going to do a we just want a click at least. All right, so here's a Revelation song. Now, if you're anything like me, all those colors are driving me crazy. So I can highlight these clips by holding Shift and then right-click, and I can choose a color. You can also change the color of the track title. So let's right-click, change the color, and I feel like doing this just kind of makes it a lot easier to see what song you're working on at the time. And let's change Revelation song. All right, so I've got 4 songs. What's really cool is I can reorder them if I need to. So if I want This Is Amazing Grace to be first, I can click and drag it to the top. And now I've got This Is Amazing Grace as our first song. And let's just say Our God is Greater is actually going to be last. So I'm going to click and drag and drop. And it moves all those files with it. So I've got a set list here. If you ever need to add another song, just right-click and go to Insert Scene. It's going to add another row for you. But so I've got 4 songs. And let me go and check the chat window and see if there's any questions going on here. Cool. Looks like we're going good. All right. Let's talk about a metronome. So up in the top left corner of the screen, we've got the Ableton Metronome. And you can see that this is the tempo. We're at 70 BPM. Here's the time signature, 4/4. And the metronome on and off control. So let's go and turn it on. And I'm going to go ahead and play This Is Amazing Grace, and let's see what happens.
Intro. 2, 3, 4.
So there's a problem, right? The metronome is not playing in time with the tracks. So we have a metronome.
Intro. 2, 3, 4.
But it's not in time. So the reason is is because the metronome is playing at 70 BPM. But This Is Amazing Grace is at 98 BPM. So what we need to do is we need to tell Ableton that when we play this song, change the metronome to 98. All you have to do is right-click on the song and go to Edit Launch Tempo. Launch is the same word as play. So we're basically saying, okay, when I play or when I launch this song, change the tempo to 98. And you just hit enter. You can also change the time signature. If I want it to be, instead of 4/4, let's just say I want to add those eighth notes, then I can make it 2/8 or 4/8. And now look what happens when I hit play, this stuff is going to change.
Intro 2, 3, 4.
Cool, right? So now my metronome is in time with the tracks. Let's do the same thing for Open Up the Heavens, because if you don't tell it to change for Open Up the Heavens, it's just going to keep with whatever you told it last to do. So I'm going to right click on Open Up the Heavens, and I'm going to change the tempo to 99 BPM. And you can also just type it in. So let's just say, if you, for those of you who want a shortcut, you could just do semicolon 99 BPM semicolon 4/4 and hit enter, and you're good. Let's hit play.
Intro 2, 3, 4.
So, and then we're in time perfectly. All right, Revelation song. Let's go and set the tempo for that. We're going to do 76 BPM at 4/8 because I want those eighth notes in there. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain, and Our God is Greater is 105, and we'll do that one at 4/4. Typically, anything under 100 BPM, it's hard for a drummer to stay in time.
Intro
With
2,
anything
3,
under
4.
100 BPM 4/4. So I like to add the eighth notes. So instead of like this, if you add the eighth notes by doing 4/8, it's easier for the drummer to stay in time with that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Worthy is the, add the eighth notes, Lamb who was slain. So just, that's a trick to remember for your drummer's sake. It'll make this easier on your drummer to stay on time with the tracks. It's pretty important. So let's just say that you want to change the tempo or change the key of the song. So you get into rehearsal and you're like, yeah, this feels slow, or this feels fast, I want to slow it down, or you want to change the key or something. Well, we can do that, and we're going to use a feature in Ableton called warping. And what warping is it's a way of time stretching audio. So speeding audio up, slowing it down, changing the pitch of it without it losing its quality or its consistency. So to warp, all I'm going to do, let's go and do this for This Is Amazing Grace. First thing you want to do
Intro
is you want to set the tempo up here to the original tempo of the song. So I'm going to say 98. And then I'm going to hold shift. I'm going to select all these clips for This Is Amazing Grace. I'm going to hit this button down here that says warp. And now it's warped. And what that means, what it did, is Ableton went through and analyzed the audio, and it found all of the transients, all the downbeats. There it is. Here's a drum track. And you can see that at every downbeat, it added a little marker. And now that it knows where the downbeats are, it can properly change the tempo or the pitch without it losing its timing. This keeps it on track with the Ableton click. So let's hit play. While this is playing, I'm going to change the tempo up here. And you'll see it change tempo. Oh, you'll hear it change tempo.
Intro 2, 3, 4.
So you can actually do now this song at any tempo you want, and it's going to be in time, which is incredible. So now if you decided like, okay, yeah, I want to do This Is Amazing Grace at 105, you can do that. Let's just say you want to change the pitch or the key of the song. So right now this song is in the key of B flat, but let's just say it's a little too high. You want to sing it in A. Well, all you do is you just click the clips that you want to transpose. I just held Shift to do all those at once. And there's a knob down here that says transpose. And these go up half steps and down half steps. So let's go down a half step to bring that to the key of A. And let's hit play on that.
Intro 2, 3, 4.
Let's go ahead and change the pitch. So a trick you can do to make it sound even better is there's a feature down here called warp mode, and we can change this to complex. And that just makes sometimes this just sound a little cleaner. Because when you start changing the pitch and the tempo a lot, it can start to get wobbly. But if you play with these modes down here, tones and texture sometimes work really well, or complex, it'll make it sound better. Now the only thing you don't want to transpose are the band cues, because you'll get something like this.
Intro 2, 3, 4.
Which wouldn't be good. You could also maybe or maybe you do want to do it. You could transpose it like this.
Intro 2, 3, 4.
Cool. Now something I noticed is that between my songs, some of the cues are louder than others, and I can actually visually see it. If you click on the actual cue track, you can see down here the wave overview of that. And I can look at these little wave files, and I can see that this song is a lot quieter than these. So to balance those out, you don't want to use this master fader here, because this fader is going to adjust the volume of everything that's in this column. So I highly advise you not to ever mess with any of these volumes, because it's gonna mess with all of the tracks that are in that column. If I mute it, it's gonna mute everything for that column. So instead, if you want to mute something, you could right click on it on the actual instrument clip and go to deactivate clip. If you want to turn it down, or in this case I want to turn this one up, you can just double click on it, and down here there's a master gain control, and I can turn the individual volume up for that clip. And what I try to do is I try to get all of them to look pretty similar. You can kind of just visually scope it out. If you want to check, you could just play them like this and watch it. Watch the meter. You can do this to multiple clips at once. So if like the entire song is quieter, I can hold Shift and I can change the volume of all the tracks for This Is Amazing Grace. So that is a really good shortcut. Let me check the chat window and see if there's any questions. Oh, my buddy St. Louis is here. Welcome, brother. All right. If you're late, by the way, you can always rewind and watch from the beginning. The magic of YouTube DVR. So okay, so we've got 4 songs in our set. We have now changed the tempo and the key of songs. Let's just say we want to, let's go and talk about audio routing. So how do we actually get this into a sound system? So I'm going to show you a diagram that I have. Let's see, where is this? And this is how I would suggest that you hook this up to your sound system. In this diagram, you can get this in our training center at Loop Community. Go to loopcommunity.com, click on training, and go to Loop University. We've got tons of free videos and training and diagrams that can help you. Anyways, what we're going to do is we're going to come out of our laptop with a headphone cable. And this headphone cable you can get for like $3 on Amazon. And what it does is it takes your headphone cable, your headphone jack, and splits it into 2 mono sends. Because your headphone jack has 2 sides to it. You've got the left side and you have the right side. It's a stereo headphone jack. So what we're going to do is we're going to send the click and the cues out of the left-hand side of my headphone jack. And we're going to send the loop out of the right-hand side of the headphone jack. We're just going to pan it. So what we're doing here is this cable splitting it. So the click is going to go into a direct box, and you're going to send that to your band. However, you're going to get the click to your band or your drummer. And then the loop is just going to go into the snake just like a normal instrument, and you tell your sound guy to crank it. You have to think of this as another instrument in your band, as well as your metronome. We're kind of combining those two things. So let's go back to live, and to be able to change the routing for this stuff, there's little pan knobs down here, and you don't want to use these because this pan knob is going to take a stereo sound and only listen to the left-hand side, so we don't want to mess with those. What we're going to do instead is we're going to open up in the bottom right corner. There's a button that says I/O. I'm going to hit that. I/O means in and out. So I opened up the in and out settings for all these channels. And we're going to look down here where it says audio to, like where's the audio going? And right now it says it's all going to the master. The master is this channel over here. And the master right now is going out 1 and 2. 1 is left and 2 is right. That's just something you have to remember. So let's do the click first. So the Ableton metronome goes out of here, what's called cue out. We're going to set that to 1. And then our band cues, let's go and set these out. I'm going to choose external out, and we're going to send them to 1 as well. So my band cues and my click are both going out 1. All of my tracks, all of my instruments, they're all going to master, which I'm going to set the master to 2. So as of right now, my click and cues are going out of the left-hand side of my headphone jack, and all my tracks are going out of the right-hand side of my headphone jack, which is 2. And I could hit play, but you won't be able to hear the difference because of how the speaker system is set up in here.
Control 2, 3, 4.
But I can tell that that's panned. It probably doesn't translate over the internet like that. But I can tell that it's panned. So that's how you set your audio outs in Ableton Live. And you can use this diagram as a guide for you if that helps you. Let's talk about triggering your tracks. How do we actually start and stop these tracks? This is a question I get a lot as well. So who in the band should run the tracks? And it comes down to preference, really. Sometimes you'll go to a concert and you'll see a laptop backed by the drummer. So if you go to see Matt Redman play, you'll see the laptop by the drummer because he runs all the tracks. If you go to a Hillsong concert, you'll see the laptop backed by the keyboard player, and he runs all the tracks. If you come to a Harvest Bible Chapel service in Chicago, you'll see a laptop at the feet of the worship leader because the worship leader runs the tracks. It really just comes down to preference, whatever you want to do. Let's talk about if you want your drummer or a keyboard player to run the tracks. So what you don't want them doing is in between songs turning to their computer, finding their mouse, and then clicking on the song.
Control 2.
Because that can just cause an awkward transition. We all know that 5 seconds can feel like 10 seconds. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up key commands or keyboard shortcuts on the laptop keyboard so that the drummer only has to hit the 1 key, the 2 key, the 3 key, or any key that we want, and it'll start the songs. Just quick key shortcuts. So I'm going to hit the key button in the top right corner of the screen, and anything that you see that turns orange can be assigned to a key on your laptop keyboard. So I'm going to click on This Is Amazing Grace, and I'm going to hit 1 on my laptop. And it assigned the number 1, or the key 1, to song 1. And I'm going to make Open Up the Heavens 2, so I'm going to click on 2, and then click on Revelation Song and hit 3, and Our God is Greater, and make it 4. All right. When I leave key mode, I know that all those shortcuts have been mapped, and I can just hit button 4, and it's going to play song 4.
Intro 2, 3, 4.
Spacebar stops your tracks, and then you could hit 1, and it's going to start song 1.
Control 2, 3, 4.
Or song 2, or button 2, and it's going to start song 2.
Intro 2, 3, 4.
So that's how you can quickly set up commands so that someone else in your band could run these tracks. Now let's just say you want to run them as the worship leader. Well, for me, I play guitar, and so I don't have my hands free. So I'm going to use my feet. I'm going to use like a foot controller, an external controller, and specifically I'm going to be using the Looptimus foot controller. If you go to looptimus.com, you can find this controller and more information about it. This was a controller that we designed specifically for worship leaders. And what you can do is put this down by your feet and then hit this button and it's going to start song 1. Hit this button and it's going to start song 2. Hit this button, it'll start song 3, 4, 5, 6. Hit this button and it'll stop your tracks. And then the next and previous buttons, those are basically, they change the page. So you've got 20 pages and each page has 6 songs on it. So you could have a lot of songs. Some people also set it up where one page is a song. So let's just say we're on song 1 right now. And this would be intro, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, bridge, outro, stop. And then hit next to go to song 2. And it'll be intro, bridge, pre-chorus, chorus, bridge, stop. Because you can jump around the song. We can talk more about that later. But if you want to assign an external controller like Looptimus to Ableton Live, it's really simple to do. You just plug it in via USB. And then just like we hit this key button to map, instead of hitting that one, we're going to hit the button next to it that says MIDI. And now anything that turned blue can be assigned to an external controller like Looptimus. So what you're going to do is you're going to plug the controller in. I don't have one with me right now, but you'll click on the song and then hit the button on the controller that you want to control that song. And it will assign just like the key commands did. Then you can do the same thing with Open Up the Heavens, Revelation Song, Our God is Greater. And then I would also assign the stop button to this global stop button up here. And that's going to basically act as the space bar or like the stop all tracks feature. So that's how you can hook up a controller. Let me go and check the chat window and see if we've got any questions going on here. Dennis, welcome. Actually, Dennis has been here the whole time. Hello. Okay, cool. If you guys have any questions at all, go ahead and type them into the box here. Let's go ahead and I'm going to talk to you about, let's talk about another thing that Ableton can do, and that's jumping around song arrangements. So I'm going to go to File, Open. Let me go and save this just in case we need to come back to it for some reason. I'll save it to my desktop. And let's go to File, Open, and I'm going to open up a session that's already been done. It's kind of like the cooking show, right? Where all of a sudden, magically, the brownies are ready. Here's another set that I made. I've got like 10 songs here. And this is like we were doing it before, where each song has a row. Well, what you can also do is you can set it up so each song has a section. So I've got Forever Rain down here, and I put verse on one row, chorus on the other row, interlude on a row, and bridge. So I can start to click. And Ableton works in something called quantization, which means that it's going to wait one bar to do what I tell it to do. So when I tell it to go to the verse, it's not going to go to the verse until the next bar. So let me click on the verse, and there it goes to the verse. Let's just say I want to go to the chorus. Just hit the chorus button. Here we go. And oh, I'm running to your arms. I'm running to your arms. Let's just see when I go back to the verse. You are good. You are good. When there's nothing good. Let's go to the chorus. And oh, I'm running to your arms. Let's go to the bridge. My heart will sing. No other name. Jesus. Let's go back to the verse. You are good. You are good. So you could do Forever Rain for 20 minutes if you wanted to. You could just keep going around and around and around and around. A lot of times people ask me, well, how do you get those sections into Ableton? And it's really simple. What you do is you use Arrangement View to do that. So you bring your tracks into this view. And then all you have to do is you need to just copy and paste the sections into Session View. So I can see that here's my verse. So I'm going to just highlight the verse. and just do a normal copy and paste. Command C, and then just paste it into this view. So I'm just going to go paste, and we're going to call this verse. And then let's do the chorus, highlight, Command C, paste, and we'll call this chorus. And let's do intro, why not? Copy, paste, here's the intro. And now you have it set up into scenes. Let's go to the chorus. Let's go to the intro. Let's go back to the verse. Open wide from the depths, from the high. Chorus. So you can jump around all you want. And it's really simple to set up those sections. That's all you do. So that's song sections. One really cool feature that you can do with Looptimus, and I can't show you right now because I don't have a Looptimus pedal with me, but it's called pad mode. And the way that pad mode works, and you can go to looptimus.com and watch a video if you want, but pad mode lets you play pads with your feet. When in pad mode, the next and previous buttons, instead of showing you numbers, it shows you keys. So you could choose your key of your song. So it'd be like A, B flat, B, C, C sharp, D. So you use the next and previous buttons to choose your keys, and then, let's just say you choose the key of C, then buttons 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 play the 1 chord, or the 2 chord, or the 3 chord, or the 4 chord of the key of C. So you could use this to play a pad in Ableton underneath a prayer or to set up transitions. It's really cool. It's probably my favorite feature of Looptimus. Pretty amazing. And so I would definitely check that out if you can. Go to looptimus.com and watch this pad mode video. It's pretty sick what it can do. It also does program changes, so you could have it change effects on your guitar player's delay pedal. It could sync up the tempo delay tempo for the delay pedal, which is awesome. So program changes it can do, and MIDI notes, which is what we were using it to run tracks. So check out this pedal. It's only $2.99, and they're shipping now. So if you order it today, you'll probably get it by the end of the week. So check out this pedal. If you're here for the webinar and you are interested in purchasing Ableton Live, good news is that our good friends at Ableton gave us permission to sell this for $49 today, which is awesome. Usually it's $99. If you are interested in purchasing it for $49, you can use the promo code that I'm going to type into the chat window here. So let me go ahead and type it into the chat window. If you guys are interested, all you do is go to loopcommunity.com, go to Tools, go to Shop, and you can add this Ableton Live right here. Add this product to your cart. Because the promo code is being used, you don't get the multi-track, but you do get the full version of Live 9 Intro. So if you're interested, $49, you can use this promo code. I'm going to type it in. It is this. Go to loopcommunity.com. Whoops, you can't do a link, but use the promo code ABL, just like that. All right. Whoops, I'm typing that in wrong. Not that one. Use this one. It's in the chat window now. Let's look at some questions. So Tim, is there a way to start a song, have the intro loop for welcome, and then push something to have it unloop? I'm not totally sure. We've tried to do this, but I could not figure out how to unloop all the tracks in the song via MIDI button. That's a very interesting question. So if you want this to unloop, you can just hit this little button right here that says loop. if you hit the MIDI button, you can assign a button to this loop feature. So actually pretty simple to do. All you do is you just click on a song or click on a clip that you want to unloop, and you can assign, by hitting the MIDI button, you can assign a MIDI control like on your keyboard or a foot pedal to unloop it. So if it were me, what I would probably do is I would by default make it so it's not looped. And every time I want it to loop, just hit this button again. And then when you don't want it to loop anymore, just let it go and it won't loop anymore. So here we go, it's gonna stop. That's probably what I would do. And the click keeps going, which is really great. All right, does anybody have any questions at all? One thing I want to talk about for sure is one of the easiest ways to run tracks, and that's using our app Prime. So if you go to looptuner.com and click on Tools and go to Prime, this is a free app that's available to you in the App Store for iPhone, iPad, and iPod. And what we did is we made this app because we wanted it to make it for people who didn't want to use Ableton, and just keep this just keep it really simple and just kind of get going. If you're just getting going, this is a good way to get started. All of your tracks that you purchase from Loop Community will automatically show up in the app, and you can make a set list. You can change the tempo. You can change the key. You can also adjust the volume of all your tracks by just using the fader options. And you just plug in a headphone cable and hook it up to the sound system just like that diagram I showed you. So this is a free app that I highly encourage you to check out in the App Store. And any song that you purchase from Loop Community automatically shows up in the app as long as you're signed into the same account. It's pretty amazing. You can also import any audio that you want. So let's just say you make your own tracks, or let's just say that you bought tracks from somewhere else or something. You can go to Loop Community, and there's usually, if you sign in, there's a button up here that says Upload. You can hit that Upload button and zip up all of your audio files and upload them, and within a couple minutes, they'll show up within the app. So if you're just getting going with this, if this is brand new to you, I would recommend that you try the app out. This could be a great way to get your feet wet. You could use it in rehearsal. You can add a click track into your set list. So if you just want to click, this is a great tool for rehearsals. It's also a great tool where you could give the login information to everybody in your band, and they could practice with the tracks or solo the parts and learn the parts when they're at home, which is pretty rad. You could also use it as an audition tool. When someone comes in to audition for drums, you could just mute the drums on the app and have them play along with the rest of the tracks. Great way to audition people. But it's also a really easy way to run MultiTracks in worship. The reason I wanted to show you Ableton is because this is the Microsoft Word in this world of loops and MultiTracks. This is kind of the software that all the pros are using. If you go to a big concert, those guys are using Ableton Live. It's just a little bit more advanced, as you can kind of see. It takes some learning, takes some tweaking, but you can do it totally. So I would just say that this is the advanced way to run tracks, and then this would be the beginner way. So maybe you start with this and then jump into Ableton, or maybe you feel good, you can jump into this right away. So again, if you want Ableton for $49, use that coupon code that I typed into the chat window on this YouTube video, and you can get that for the next 24 hours. That's really important. We can't honor the coupon code after 24 hours from now, so make sure you do that within 24 hours if you want it. I'm going to go ahead and actually type that in just so that is clear. Okay. Tim says, but it would not unloop multiple instruments for me, only the one track. I looped the intro of a song that had multiple instruments. It would not let me unloop more than one clip at a time. Is there another way to do it? What I would do is I would just unloop all of these. And then every time you want it to loop, just hit the scene button again and it'll re-loop again. And then when it's done, it won't loop automatically. So I would set it by default to not loop. And then when you want it to loop, just have it go ahead and loop by hitting the scene button. So anyways, check out the app Prime. If you guys want to download a free track to try out and just have fun, you can use this code. I'm going to type it into the chat window. That will give you a free split track. So go ahead and give that whoops. So go ahead and give that a try. But thank you guys for coming. Hopefully this has been helpful to you. If you guys have any questions at all, check out looptuner.com. We have a ton of free training videos in Loop University. Also, we do one-on-one training. If you want to do training over Skype, you can sign up for a one-on-one training, and we can meet with you and help you with whatever it is that you're working on and what you need help with. If you know how to make your own tracks, upload them and share them to the community. We'd love to hear them, and there's a lot of churches that could really use them, I'm sure. And if you don't know how to use tracks, check out Loop Community and search for a song and download and have fun. Hopefully this has been helpful for you. Thank you so much for joining us. And make sure you also check out ascensionworship.com if you haven't seen that. But it looks like a lot of you guys are a part of it. Great guys, and it's great what they're doing there. So hope everybody has a great afternoon. I'll talk to you later.